My name is Megan Singleterry, and my presentation is on the OSCE, which is the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. The OSCE is the world's largest regional security international organization, and its slogan is that it is working to ensure peace and stability for more than 1 billion people between Vancouver and Vladivostok. The OSCE has been recognized as a regional organization under Chapter 8 of the United Nations Charter, and is a primary instrument for early warning, conflict prevention, crisis management, and post-conflict rehabilitation in its region. To begin, I would like to talk about the history of the OSCE. The OSCE was born out of the Cold War. The precursor to the OSCE was the CSCE, or the Conference on Security and Cooperation in Europe. This was a series of conferences held in Geneva and Helsinki over 2 years in the 1970s between countries on both sides of the Iron Curtain. The goal of these conferences was to establish a multilateral forum for dialogue and negotiation between the East and the West. These conferences produced the Helsinki Final Act, which was signed on August 1, 1975. The Helsinki Final Act commits states that signed it to resolve security issues in 3 dimensions: politico-military, economic and environmental, and human dimensions. It also established the Helsinki Decalogue of Fundamental Principles, ways in which participating states should act toward their own citizens and toward each other. This slide lists out the principles of the Helsinki Decalogue. The principles mentioned in the Helsinki Decalogue range from how to respect sovereignty of participating states, to respecting human rights and fundamental freedoms, to furthering cooperation among states. After the Cold War ended, the CSCE realized that it needed to morph from a regularly scheduled conference into a brick-and-mortar institution in order to manage the historic changes taking place in Europe and to respond to new challenges in the post-Cold War period. The Charter of Paris for a New Europe was signed at the Paris Summit in November 1990, which committed the CSCE to tackling these new challenges. This began the process of institutionalization of the CSCE, and eventually an agreement was reached to change the name to the OSCE, replacing Conference for Organization, in December 1994 at the Budapest Summit of Heads of State or Government. The OSCE is headquartered in Vienna, Austria. The current Secretary General is Thomas Greminger, who is from Switzerland. There are currently 57 participating states in the OSCE. They are considered participating states rather than member states because they did not sign a treaty in order to establish their membership in the OSCE, and because their participation is politically but not legally binding. Here is a map and list of all 57 participating states, as well as the 11 countries that act as partners for cooperation in the Asian and Mediterranean regions. It is important to note why these particular states are participants in the OSCE. They were formed out of the original membership of the CSCE as a way to ensure multilateral diplomacy and cooperation for security among countries on both sides of the Iron Curtain. Current OSCE participating states are made up of those which were once part of the Soviet Union, were Soviet satellites or Soviet-friendly during the Cold War, or were Western allied in both Europe and North America. The OSCE's mandate encompasses security on issues across 3 dimensions. The 3 dimensions are politico-military, economic and environmental, and human. The politico-military issues that the OSCE covers are border management, arms control, reform and cooperation in the security sector, conflict prevention and resolution, combating terrorism, and policing. The economic and environmental issues they cover are good governance, environmental activities, and economic activities. The human issues they cover are elections, tolerance and non-discrimination, minority rights, rights for Roma and Sinti communities, media freedom and development, rule of law, and human rights. There are a number of issues that the OSCE covers which overlap with more than one dimension. Those are democratization, cyber and ICT security, combating human trafficking, education, youth, migration, and gender equality. Next, I will discuss the structure of the OSCE as an international organization. The main decision-making body of the OSCE is the Ministerial Council, which is made up of the ministers of foreign affairs from each participating state. There is also a rotating chairmanship, which is selected by the Ministerial Council. The rotating chairmanship is held by a different participating state every year. Slovakia holds the chairmanship for 2019, and Albania will take it over on January 1st, 2020. The Minister of Foreign Affairs from the countries selected as chairman holds the title of chairperson in office for that year. For 2019, the chairperson in office is Slovak Foreign Minister Miroslav Lajcek. Each selected country puts forth their priorities for their year as chairman. Slovakia's priorities for 2019 are to prevent, mediate, and mitigate conflict while focusing on the people it affects, provide for a safer future, and promote effective multilateralism. The OSCE is a massive organization comprised of many executive structures and field operations across its participating states. The main elements of the executive structure are the Parliamentary Assembly, which is located in Copenhagen, the Secretary General and Executive Secretariat, both located in Vienna, Austria, the Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights, located in Warsaw, Poland, the Representative on Freedom of the Media, located in Vienna, Austria, the High Commissioner on National Minorities, located in The Hague, Netherlands, and the Court of Conciliation and Arbitration, located in Geneva, Switzerland. These arms of the OSCE work with each other and with OSCE field offices on security issues under each of the three dimensions. OSCE field offices and operations are located throughout Eastern and Southeastern Europe, as well as in the South Caucasus region and Central Asia. The most important field operation right now is the Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine in Eastern Europe, which I will discuss in more detail later. Funding for the OSCE is by contributions from the 57 participating states. 2019's unified budget was just over 138 million euros, or $153 million. The OSCE produces publications all the time. The Secretary General publishes an annual report of ongoing OSCE activities every year. Additionally, the field offices and operations, as well as the other offices included in the executive structure, frequently publish reports on different topics. I've included examples of these reports on this slide. The OSCE is very important for maintaining security and stability and resolving conflict across the region in which it operates. It is the only regional security organization which includes Russia and the United States on equal footing. The OSCE helps to advance multilateral dialogue and security structures among participating states that are both peaceful and adversarial. Here are a few examples of how the OSCE helps to advance security and stability across the three dimensions of its mandate. One of the most important current ongoing field operations of the OSCE is its presence in Ukraine. The Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine, in particular, was established to report on the ongoing conflict in that region and to make sure both sides honor agreements. They have been issuing daily reports of developments on the ground there since 2014. These reports are very important for helping the OSCE, as well as other international organizations like the UN and everyone around the world, know what is happening in this active war zone and to help make decisions about next steps and how to resolve the conflict. Additionally, the Special Monitoring Mission to Ukraine just published on October 29th an infographic report on trends and observations from their mission, which covers the time period of July to September 2019. This is an ongoing series of infographic reports put out quarterly to monitor things like ceasefire violations, restrictions on people's freedom of movement, and other issues that come up in active war zones. The OSCE is also currently working on a project entitled Promoting Green Ports and Connectivity in the Caspian Region. This project will cover the economic and environmental dimension of security and result in increased trade between Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan, which will both improve their economies and likely their relations with each other. It will also help further the UN's Sustainable Development Goals by improving the environmental impact of the designated seaports in the Caspian Sea. The OSCE routinely monitors elections in its 57 participating states. It does not discriminate on where it observes elections. It is just as likely to monitor them in a developing country such as Uzbekistan as it is to monitor them in developed countries like the United States. In fact, the OSCE has observed the elections in the U.S. ever since 2002. Election monitoring done by the OSCE illustrates its commitment to making sure elections in its participating states are free and fair, and to ensuring stability throughout the region. So, those three examples give an idea of ongoing activities that the OSCE has been involved with. I'd also like to point out a few real goals they have reached in the last few years. Several OSCE field offices in Southeastern Europe, in conjunction with the OSCE Conflict Prevention Center and the UNHCR, have achieved continued success with the implementation of a regional housing program across Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Montenegro, and Serbia. The regional housing program has been working to provide durable housing solutions to over 27,000 refugee families. These are people who were displaced during the conflict in the 1990s, and over 4,000 units have so far been completed with the goal of completing 6,000 soon. The OSCE has also worked on the cause of gender equality, specifically by working with civil organizations in Serbia and Denmark to help establish career networking platforms for women to help other women advance their careers. 6 of these networks have been established so far, connecting at least 200 women of many different backgrounds across the 57 participating states. Media freedom is also a very important aspect of the OSCE's work, and it has worked in many ways to make sure that press freedom is a priority among participating states. The representative on freedom of the media held a workshop in 2018 to bring together both Russian and Ukrainian journalists, people who have recently had a more contentious relationship due to the ongoing conflict between the two states, as well as the treatment of the press in Russia. This workshop was held in order to give these journalists an opportunity to have open dialogue with each other and to work together on a joint project. The examples I've just shown you of a few of the goals that the OSCE has achieved give a great view of how this security organization takes its mandate and applies it as broadly as it can in order to have better opportunity for achieving peace and stability across the region it covers. To conclude, the OSCE is the largest international regional security organization. It provides important opportunities for dialogue and partnership between countries that have historically been or are currently at odds with one another. The OSCE is the main body for managing and preventing conflict throughout Eurasia, whether it's working to contain and resolve frozen conflicts in Ukraine, Moldova, and the Caucasus, or it's building the sustainable foundation for lasting security by promoting development, democracy, and human rights. Thank you for watching my presentation on the OSCE.